I took off my tight shirt exposing my very muscular chest and abs, and then Hila blushed and said, "You are the perfect man, but it's to be expected from a god. However, I have to ask, what's with the star tattoos on your chest?" And then I said, "They aren't tattoos, they are birthmarks, and I was born with them. It represents a prophecy about Hakuto Shinken and the Fist of the North Star, and it says only someone like me can wield the true powers of Hakuto Shinken and the Fist of the North Star. It's a legend among my people and my clan, and Hakuto Shinken is said to be the most deadly martial arts in all of existence, and I have mastered it years ago. It's said that only a god can save the earth and the human race, and that person is me, and it's my destiny to save my people because I am the Fist of the North Star," I said with conviction, and my tattoos glowed blue a bit. And then Hila said, "Okay, now remove the rest of your clothes, and I like what I see so far," and I removed my pants and underwear, and then I could sense that Hila got very aroused right after she saw the size of my impressive 12-inch penis, and I could see that Hila female ejaculated a bit, and she said, "Oh well, now that's very nice, just as I expected. Now let's learn how well you make love to a woman." And then I said, "I never get tired and I don't need to rest, Hila." And then she said, "Fascinating, we will see." And then after nearly 2 days Hila's mind broke from sexual overstimulation, and I continued giving her oral pleasure, and she said, "Oh my god, I love you so much, please don't stop, you're making me feel so good." And she began crying because she was so happy, and I continued making love to her so much that she would probably do whatever I tell her to do from now on. And then Hila moaned loudly and she said, "Oh Kenshiro, I love you so much, please don't stop, baby." And then Hila began sweating passionately from riding my member in the cowgirl position, and then I said, "Oh yes, I'm going to come again." And then Hila said, "Oh yes, give me your babies." And then I came inside Hila's vagina again, and then she had another massive orgasm, and Hila passed out on top of me while my penis was still inside her, and she fell asleep. And after 2 days of her sleeping she woke up, and then I started having sex with her again while she was still on top of me in the cowgirl position. And then Hila began to shudder and moan loudly again, and she said, "Oh god, baby, yes." And for 10 days and 10 nights I made love to Hila in every sexual position almost non-stop, and she loved every second of it. And after 12 days she finally said, "Enough, I'm done. I'm sexually satisfied," and asked her, "Are you sure?" And she said, "Yes, definitely, I'm sure you." And I had sex nearly 12 days. Hila said, "I'm done having sex for now, but I will definitely want to do this again very soon." And then I freed Hila from her prison, and I took Hila back to Asgard, where I married Hila, and Hila officially became the queen of Asgard. And Hila met her brothers Thor and Loki, and one of my magical clones stayed with Hila. Meanwhile, back on Xandar, the real me was helping Peter Quill avoid being captured by Rocket Raccoon and Groot, because I used my powers to turn me and Peter Quill invisible along with my wives, and we watched Gamora and Rocket Raccoon fight, and then the Nova Corps showed up and arrested them, including Groot. And then Peter Quill sarcastically waved bye to them, and Peter Quill said to them loudly, "Bye, morons," and that pissed off Rocket and Gamora tried to attack Peter Quill, and then the Nova Corps asked him, "Do you know these people?" And Peter Quill said, "No sir, and I didn't do anything to these people, they attacked me unprovoked." And then Irani Rail said, "Take them away." And then that's when I made Irani Rail a offer she couldn't refuse, and then I said, "I can help you, Miss Rail." And then she asked me, "What do you want to help me with, handsome?" And she raised an eyebrow, and then I said, "Well, I can help you bring Ronan the Accuser to justice alive, and I can capture them all today, but I will need those people back that you just arrested plus one more, and that's Drax the Destroyer." And then I said, "I also want you to make us all honorary members of the Nova Corps, and in exchange I will bring Ronan the Accuser to justice along with all his people, and I will bring them all to you captured and alive, but in exchange I want you to free Rocket Raccoon, Groot, Gamora and Drax the Destroyer, and I want you to make all of us members of the Nova Corps police force." And then Irani Rail said, "If you can do all that today, I will make you and your team members high-ranking members in the Nova Corps police, and I will make sure you are paid very well every month." And then I said, "Consider it done." And then I stuck my hand out to shake the hand of Irani Rail, and she said, "If you can do this today, I just might give you a little something extra, handsome." And then Irani Rail winked at me like a cougar, if you know what I mean, and then I grunted and I said, "Yes ma'am."